Welcome to another episode of me reviewing every modded Skyrim player home. I'll be placing nearly 20 mods on a tier list in the order of which I would personally use them and why, or why not. Now, without further ado, I'm Raina, the Bards College graduate, and this is Skyrim Real Estate's tier list, castles, estates, palaces, and more. As today's focus is on the large player homes, we're taking a couple of friends with us today to demonstrate their space. Say hi to Mjol and Jordis, Bikai, Rallis and Yizargo. We'll begin the video with the estates category and start with a classic, Elysium Estate, right by the bustling city of Whiterun. In the comments of the earlier video, many of you gave me an earful for not including this legendary player home in the list, and for good reason. This estate is a household blessed by Kyne, who allows you to move in for free after talking to the caretaker ghost on the yard. The estate opens into a kitchen and a dining area where you can also use the many clickables to serve drinks and food to your friends and family. The main bedroom is unbelievably cozy, with a hearth bringing warmth to the space, twin bed nestled in a cozy nook and greenery, and a private bath with beautiful decorations. You can customize the different features of the estate here by interacting with this book. In this space, there is also a study and many bookshelves, as well as a rack to prop up your invaluable Elder Scrolls. The companion's room is more modest, but it also has a bath and many comfortable beds to sleep on. Downstairs, there is a basement in a new cell, which was a surprise to me, an underground hot springs grotto. Here you can relax your weary bones and use the treasury room to display your epic armors and weapons, Daedric artifacts, and everything you've found during your journeys. All around the estate there are named storage boxes, and in addition to the crafting stations, there are other fun things to use, such as a perfume that buffs your speechcraft and linked chests. Moreover, you can order livestock to live on your yard, so maybe a cute cow to milk, or a goat, or a pair of chickens. After experiencing it thoroughly, I found that Elysium Estate is a combination of coziness and convenience with a dash of magic. The location of it is great, and this home offers really everything you need while providing comfort for you and your companions. Not really sure how I've never installed it before, and now that I have, it goes straight to Sovngarde tier. Hjertesten Hall is another one that I have heard so much about, so I'm pretty stoked to finally give it a go. Located in the Rift, west from Heartwood Mill, this estate gives you the experience of being the ruling lord or the lady of the area. You can form a guild, invite your friends and their families in, hire guards to secure it, and create a true community within this Hjertesten village. Sounds amazing, but now let's see how it all works in reality. To begin this adventure, you need to speak to Kjartan, who leads you to Lord Hemme, who is willing to sell the estate for you for 50,000 septims. The main hall looks really grand and epic. It's completely wooden, with tables to host people and a throne for you to sit on, with a fireplace in the middle to bring light and warmth into the space. Up the stairs, there is the main, well, not exactly bedroom, but the bed balcony with a bath and a view down the hall. Behind the main room, there is a sitting nook to plan out your adventures, and behind the doors, more bedrooms, including a children's room and the coziest, tiniest kitchen. So, yeah, needless to say, there is a lot of space for friends and family. Now, you can hire any friendly NPC as your steward, who is essentially your right hand and manages the property. Through him or her, you can collect resources, make changes to the furniture and decoration around the hall, build a proper wall around Hjertesten, host feasts, and summon warriors. This is the same for all the other roles around the settlement. You can hire a priest or a priestess, a housecarl, an alchemist, a tavern keeper, guards, and so on to join you to form a community inside the walls. I found it a lot of fun to gather all my favorite characters, invite them in, and enjoy time together here in Hjertesten. If you have a family, you can naturally move them in as well. Outside the Great Hall, there are homes for each of the different hirelings, and a boat which you can use to travel, and carriages around Skyrim are also able to take you back home. You can get even married in the chapel. Now, this mod is absolutely adorable and so much more than just a simple player home. I'll put Hjertesten Hall in Thane's residence tier, but it could easily fit into Sovngarde if it was just a bit more tidy and cohesive, especially with the grammar. Yes, I know that may sound a bit nitpicky, but I just do take notice of small things like this. Now, let's check out Silverpeak Lodge. Many of today's player homes are getting quite old, and this one is no exception, as it was first released in 2014. This free home is characterized as very large, meant for players who have plenty of companions and big extended family who all want to live with the Dragonborn. Now, let's take a look at the yard before going in. There's a small hot spring outside and oh, Doris jumped in straight away. Well, I can't blame her. Also, some armor crafting stations can be found on the front yard, as well as a small farm. I just hope these animals won't freeze to death in these temperatures here. Behind the house, there's this unique feature, a floaty system where you can magically float up here and watch the scenery. You can also float down to a bigger hot spring, and the scenery is what shines the most here. The location of Silverpeak Lodge is absolutely wonderful, and the view to the Whiterun Hold breathtaking. Next, it's time to head up inside. The house opens up to a huge open hall with many long tables, space to eat and drink, and an aquarium of all things. On one side, there are some displays that mark your achievements of completing the many important quests of Skyrim, which I find unique and interesting. This center space opens up to many new rooms, each enormous, especially the companion's bedroom, which reminds me of a military barrack. There's a huge crafting room for all your crafting and leveling needs, and you can also find all the shrines and stones. By the way, none of this clutter is static, so be mindful. In the spa, I can almost smell the scent of eucalyptus. Actually, this room is my favorite so far. It's quite tranquil and beautiful bathroom, and the amount of steam is just perfect. In the cellar, there is a trophy room to display all your armors and weapons with dozens of mannequins and countless weapon racks. When it comes to the rating, Silverpeak Lodge is one of those huge utilitarian player homes that are just not for me. So it goes to wonders in tier. It's well loved over the years, and I can clearly see all the good in it, especially the hot springs, spa, and unique quest displays, but I can't see myself personally using it at all. The final mod in the estate category we're looking at today is Crystalwind Estate and the Waterfalls of Rielle, a new world space hidden behind a cave entrance at the southern Rift Hold. This cave opens up to a dreamlike valley, the Rielle Falls, a peaceful autumnal paradise that is all yours the second you step in, so no need to reach for that bag of coin, my friend. Now, in this valley, in addition to being your new home, you can also find useful services. A general goods store and an apothecary, as well as the stables, farm plantation with mill, fish hatchery, the Crystalwind mine, and much more. Friends can be accommodated in the guest house, bunkhouse or the lake house, and around the falls there are countless relaxing spots to chill at and just enjoy the nature around you. Now, if we go check out the main building, the Crystalwind estate, oh, hey Raya, you can see that it's quite roomy with a lot of space to hang out in front of the hearth. The main bedroom is spacious and warm as well, with a twin bed, a lot of greenery, and a wardrobe that leads to a secret armory room in the guest room. In the guest room, I really like how their beds are up on the balcony, and under them there's a sitting area. The right side door from the same building takes us to the Crystalwind display room, an extensive collection hall where you can prop up every valuable that you can imagine, from the Daedric artifacts to Dragon Priest masks. The left side door, on the other hand, takes us to the storage room, which doesn't need much introducing. Here you can store out all your excess items and maybe craft a cheeky little potion upstairs. Overall, I think Rielle Falls is an incredibly peaceful and beautiful location, a perfect place to recover from past trials and tribulations. This one goes to Hearthfire Comfort Tier. I really love the atmosphere, but I wish you could access the other parts of the estate from the main house and not have to go outside to enter them. Regardless, it's a beautiful mod, and the ghostly NPCs, the caretakers, are a nice touch. Now that the video has been properly kicked off, let's move on to the next player home category, castles. I'm a big castle fan IRL, so I hope we'll find the perfect castle dwelling out of these 5 picks. Oh, and I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters who also get some fun perks and exclusive videos for supporting me and my channel. Do join if you want them, or just wish to be a part of the process. For free, you can always subscribe, I appreciate that a lot. Now, on to the next player home. First, we're checking out Sjel Blad Castle. When you launch Skyrim after the installation, the mod asks you things through pop-up messages. Not gonna lie, that was a bit of a turn off, but when I traveled to the castle, I had to collect my jaw from the floor. This place looks absolutely epic. Epic, but just not for sake of being epic. This aesthetic is clearly crafted with care. Inside, as we go through the imposing hallway, a ghostly steward greets us, and he is a great source of knowledge when it comes to this massive castle. This player home has plenty of features. An in-house teleportation system to quickly move from one place to another, an auto-sorting storage for items, castle customization options, hireable servants and merchants, barracks, and a sparring pit to hone your fighting skills, and a lot more. In fact, one of my favorite features is the lair and the stables, where you can recruit creature companions and mounts to accompany you on the road. I didn't anticipate this player home to include an actual zoo inside it. In the Tropheum, you can craft trophies of the dragons and beasts you've killed, and the living quarters are absolutely lavish in every way. To repeat myself, the castle is clearly crafted with care, which becomes obvious when exploring it. Especially this freezer is something that made me smile. Such a simple thing, but it's thought out. To summarize Sjel Blad Castle, my first impression of the mod wasn't the best, as I definitely do not want any pop-ups in my game without clicking something. There is also a lot of work-in-progress features, and I did encounter some bugs in the sparring area. On the other hand, I really do appreciate the ambition and the overall design of the castle, so this is a really hard one to put on a tier list. All things considered, this one has to go into Thane's residence tier. Even though I wouldn't have this home as the first choice, it's really cool, experimental, huge, loaded with features, and visually impressive. The next castle we're taking a look at is Raven Castle, which is located in a custom world space in the Falkreath Mountains between Skyrim and Cyrodiil. First, we'll have to go through the Raven Forest Passage, a spooky, thorny road that takes us to the castle. As you can see, this place is huge, so huge it made my frames drop considerably. It may have something to do with my extensive mod list, but regardless, the first impression left me dumbfounded and in awe. Before stepping in, I want to point out that these multiple towers so tall they touch the clouds and the lush inner courtyards with Daedric statues just look insanely good. Now, this castle is another free player home, so no need to pay, you can just claim the fortress as your own. Inside the entrance hall, we are greeted by a man called Hans, and the door opens up to the Great Hall with Raven Knights standing guard. By the way, none of my followers made it here through the forest passage, but I'm sure these guards will keep us safe during this open house. Through the grand hallway, you can find the epic throne room, the seat of your power, and the dining hall that has seats for the whole court. Through the royal stairway, we'll discover the library, which must be my favorite part of this whole castle, and also the library tower, which feels very gothic and very atmospheric. The trophy room is just for show, so you can't put any of your valuables in as the display cases are already all filled. Really, this castle has so many rooms that I can't go over each one of them, but there is also a ballroom to host parties in, knights' quarters where the guards live and sleep, a war room to carefully plan out your next steps, and the Knights' Hall where you can recruit followers. There are just countless chambers, offices, basements, armories, studies, and going through this castle takes forever. Now, at this point, I have realized that this location is no player home at all. In Nexus, it's under the buildings category. In any case, I'll rate it as if it was. I'll have to put this one in Wanderers in tier, and here's why. Nearly every room is in a cell of its own, which means a lot of loading screens, even though they are short. I also find the home impractical, as it takes a while to find what you're looking for, whether it's the missing crafting stations, secure storage, or beds. Regardless, it's an impressive location and has a backstory and crafted to make the interiors to match the exterior of the castle, and I love to explore its every nook and cranny. For some renowned vampire lord, I'd wager it's the perfect castle though. Next, we're going to Deus Mons, the castle of Miraak, which is located right next to Raven Castle. Legends tell us this castle was built by Miraak himself, the first Dragonborn, and thus only the last Dragonborn would be worthy of this house. Here you'll have to cross the bridge and fight the dragon Desasdova to prove yourself as the new master of this castle and get the key to the Hall of Heroes and Gods. Here a ghostly steward greets us, and by talking to him we can hire servants and other people into the castle to liven it up. Here you can also find all the shrines of the divines and pray upon them to get blessed. The door to the living quarters takes us to a stairway and a dwarven armor crafting area, and for some reason a wall is missing, but hey! Here, the doorway opens up to a grand throne room fit for the Dragonborn, which also acts as a living room of sorts just to chill out, read some books, or act as Aegon the Conqueror would have. No, sorry, that's the wrong franchise. Here you can also find a recall tome back to Days Mons for an ease of access. The stairs lead us down to a mannequin hallway, which opens up to a magically lit bathhouse, and this statue can also take us to a more private establishment to relax in. The door on the other side of the hallway, on the other hand, welcomes you into a combined kitchen and dining hall. Now, this middle door is our way to the Dragonborn's living quarters, where a bard is always at your side, and you can access the vault and the armory, where all your valuables are stored away, as well as the children's room, which is the size of an orphanage. There's also a guest room for your companions and a dedicated room for servants with nice stone beds. I'd suggest changing those if you don't want a bad reputation among your helpers. Finally, you can visit the mysterious Underfalls with a shrine to Nocturnal and a garden which you can sit at and take in the atmosphere. Now, this castle of Miraak belongs to its new Dragonborn owner, and I'll rate this one into the Hearthfire Comfort tier. I really do like it, but the interior designs feel a bit copy-paste-like from the other locations in the game. I'm not sure why that one wall was missing for me. On the other hand, I really like how the player home doesn't overstay its welcome in the way that it isn't too big, it has a clear theme, and the teleport scroll is a big plus. Next, we're taking a look at the spectacular Dracula's castle. Looking at the size of this thing, it's no wonder the download file was nearly 1 GB. This massive player home is located at the Morthos Marsh, right on the other side of the Solitude Docks. Not only is it a simple player home, it's a complete experience with new weapons, armor, spells, pets, follower, and much more, and the castle itself is inspired by Castlevania. Now, to gain access to this behemoth, you'll need to fight your way all the way to the top of the castle and defeat the Count. At the gates, you'll meet Leo, whose friend has gone missing in the castle, and you can help him find them. Sadly, deceased on the very first hallway. Now, you can see that this castle is most of all spooky, with all the vampire and school decor everywhere. After you have conquered the castle and found the secret passageway, you can explore it fully and take use of its amenities. For example, there's an extensive library with real books filled to the brim on the shelves, and a creepy art gallery if you are a sophisticated enjoyer of arts. You can use the spell tome to teleport back to the castle and use the mystical school to travel quickly to cities and towns, and there are many new NPCs and vendors inhabiting your new estate. You can also move the castle from the marsh to a custom world space, Transylvania, by pulling the lever in one of the rooms. Usually, I'm not quite into mods that are this far from Skyrim's aesthetic and theme, but Dracula's castle took me by surprise. Somehow, I felt really joyous exploring this place and trying to find the Count. Also, the custom-voiced Khajiit follower was a nice addition to all of this, and his quest to free the castle from these malevolent powers. Everything about this mod feels kind of cute. But even though running this mod is a lot of fun, I couldn't see myself using this castle as a home, and the location feels quite a bit off at the Solitude Docks. And the custom world space is not much better, although it's a creative feature. Into Hearthfire Comfort tier you go. Our final castle is located in the Rainy Rift. This is the regal Dragonfall Castle. Surrounded by sturdy walls and guards in heavy metal, this castle is well fortified and secure, fit for any Thane or other person of importance. Dragonfall is for sale for 50,000 septims, a great price for a castle of this size for anyone who is looking for a forever home. The front door opens up the view to the beautifully colored throne hall, green everywhere on the carpet, on the fabrics, and on the banners. Now, if we walk to the left side and up the stairs, we'll find the court alchemist and sorceress, who are also vendors for spell items, and here you can use the arcane crafting stations. Right next door, you can find the armor crafting workshop, and here, in the Dragonfall basement, are most of the servants' bedrooms, a little tavern to pass time in, and the bathhouse. From the main hall to the right side, we arrive into a room with a round table, a place to plan out your next adventures, and the next door leads us to the kitchen, which also has its own freezer. Now, Behind the throne room, the real magic happens, as here is the main bathhouse, a beautiful space and a beautiful ceiling. Not only does it have marble statues, but a pool bar as well. By the way, behind each of these doors is a singular bedroom for any visitors or companions. This castle also has a magical portal to move between the different parts of the establishment. Here we can access the vast library where you can study on hours on end, and the main living quarters and bedroom reserved only for the owner of the building. From here, you can configure the NPCs of the house, so if you don't care for them, you can just turn them off. Now, Dragonfall Castle is exactly the kind of castle I could see my character living in. It's the perfect size for a castle, practical. The decoration is simple but tastefully detailed, and the structure of each room looks flawless. We're going in with a bang. This one belongs to Sovngarde tier. We're moving into proper manors now, but don't worry, many of them are very castle-like. These categories are kind of arbitrary anyway, as I am in no authority of the different types of buildings that you can live in. In any case, we're taking a look at Dragonborn Keep Revamped, Falkreath Mountains player home next, as it continues the Dovahkiin theme. This home is located right next to Angi's camp in the Falkreath Mountains. It's completely free to acquire, as you can just waltz right into the cozy feast hall with the hearth bringing warmth to the space. This player home is mainly meant for those who have a lot of followers, as it accommodates as much as 31 companions of yours, with many beds on the main floor and in the basement. Here you have everything that an adventurer needs, from a lot of safe storage space to the crafting stations and planters. There are luxuries too, for the mages in the form of the beautiful Arcaneum, and for the hedonists in the form of the relaxing bathhouse. In addition, there is an armory with a lot of mannequins and weapon racks, as well as a large cave where you can enjoy the hot springs and mine some ore. The beautiful landscape can be enjoyed from the balcony, and your horse sure enjoys them too, looking from the stables. This home is a dependable keep for those who do take pleasure in a quiet luxury while adventuring with a jolly pack of companions. I'll put Dragonborn Keep in the Hearthfire Comfort tier. It's a solid home, although maybe a bit too similar to the Mistveil Keep in Riften, and there's a lot of clutter that is all non-static. That said, I could definitely see myself using this home as a base of operations in a playthrough, as it's cozy for sure, and most of all, practical. Another castle-like manor we have on the list is the medium-sized Kynesgarde, located in the very south of the Rift Hold. These deep stone stairs takes us to this fortified player home, a true secure haven. Wait, what on earth has happened here? Okay, don't pay it any mind, I'll just quickly get the key. Now, here on the upper courtyard, we have the main entrance to Kynesgarde and a beautiful winter garden. The front door takes us to the warm Great Hall, which also has the library and study on the balconies. On the west wing, we have the owner's quarters, with his or her own armory room. On the east wing, you can find the alchemy and enchanting room, and the kitchen and pantry area. Now, in the lower floor, there is a sizable bedroom for companions, which looks really cozy, and there's finally some privacy for each of the people who live here. Outside, there is a small farm and a hot spring where you can enjoy the mountain breeze. If you really take liking to this house, you can use your gold to upgrade it by hiring guards, a steward and a blacksmith, and build a kid's chamber. And of course, there are most of the standard crafting stations, a lot of safe storage, and the rest of the usual amenities we're so used to. I just don't know how to explain it, but this player home feels incredibly real and lived in the most perfect way possible. I love its simple layout, and while it's convenient, it's also very charming inside and out. Kynesgarde is, my friends, a true Thane's residence. If you're sick of seeing snow already, like I am, I have some good news for you. Our next manor is located in the Whiterun Tundra, just east of the city. This beauty right here is Stormwatch Castle, another medium-sized castle home with a garden and walls to protect its peace from any harm. I'm sure you won't be surprised that you have to pay a long penny to acquire it, 35,000 septims in fact. Now, let's see how this beautiful building looks on the inside. The home opens up to a hallway which takes us to the dining hall with a hearth roaring by the long table, and behind there is a small and cozy living room to relax after a big meal. Furthermore, on this floor, there is a bar that Jordy started to work at right away, and some singular guest beds in a creative angle against the wall. If we go downstairs, we can find a luxurious spa area with a big pool, and these doors take us to smaller guest rooms for your companions. Before checking out the upper floor, in the basement, there is a vast library at your disposal where you can store out your valuable tomes and the legendary Elder Scrolls. There's also a secret room for the canine teeth friends of ours. In the basement, there's also a huge armory hall to keep proper track of your equipment and prop up all the unique items gathered from your journeys. Let's not forget about the Undercroft either, which houses all the crafting stations and an inside garden and has a lovely moody atmosphere to work in. Now, on to the higher floors, where we can find the main bedroom with the most beautiful bed ever, and here you can find a teleport spell to the home. Moreover, in the loft, you can find the children's quarters, who I think have a really nice space there. There's also a balcony and an inner courtyard, each a lovely place to meditate or pass some time in the sun. Honestly, this home blew me away. It was when I saw the library, I knew that I couldn't put this home in any other tier than Sovngarde worthy, even though there are some separate cells and loading screens. Stormwatch Castle is at the same time cozy and dependable and beautiful with useful features. I love it. Next, we're going just south of Morthal to check out the charming Winterberry Chateau. This property has the beautiful manor and a yard with greenhouse and some good lounging space if you just don't mind the weather. The chateau is worth 35,000 septims, and you'll have to buy the key from Salvor, who's currently residing in the Moorside Inn. The home opens up to a high-class solitude-style mansion with arched vaults, a cozy fireplace lounge, and a study right next to the front door, which also can be used to display valuable items. This floor also has the kitchen combined with the bar and pantry area, and naturally the grand dining room with the table overflowing with food and drinks. Now, downstairs, in the main room, you can find the gorgeous spa with a small bath. To go with it, there is a steam room and a working Dwemer shower too, which is neat. Here in this floor, your companions and workers can sleep, as you can hire people to look after the house while you're on your adventures. Finally, the armory can be found here in downstairs as well, with a lot of space for your weapons and items and well-equipped crafting rooms. Upstairs is completely dedicated to sleeping, as here we can find the sumptuous main bedroom. Imagine falling asleep to this view of the fireplace. There's also a private bath with a sweet view to the downstairs lounge. On this floor, you can also find an additional bedroom and the children's room. This is not all, as there's one feature in this mod that fits perfectly the season at hand. By wearing this Santa hat and asking your hired steward to decorate the property, all of Winterberry will be festive for the Saturalia celebration. This makes the house feel joyful and even more cozy. This player home is the perfect size, very cozy, luxurious and well decorated. I think I'll put it to High Thanes Residence tier. The last player home in the MANORS category we have today is Peregrine Highwatch HFX. This home is located right between Riverwood and Whiterun at the White River Bridge, and to acquire it, you must pay 20,000 septims. It looks like this house has been built upon an old fortress, with the main building sitting on top of it. Here we have a beautiful view to the city of Whiterun, and on the patio we also have a pool. An actual pool. A very modern looking pool. Anyway, we'll come back up here, but now let's enter this door, which takes us to the Peregrine Highwatch cave. Down here, we can find the pantry, your livestock, underground garden, and an underground pond where you can fish, among other useful things. You can also meet the ghostly man who built this beautiful house and find an ancient Dwemer passageway that takes you all the way to the town of Iverstead. Now, climbing up to the main building, this lower floor is dedicated to relaxation. It has another modern pool for you to enjoy and a cozy fireplace area for dressing. Going upstairs, we arrive to the secondary living quarters, where you and your companions can enjoy a meal together or hang around in the combined library, bar, living room and crafting room. Your friends can also stay here during their visit. There are quite a lot of custom textures and models, which you can see here on the wooden walls and some of the furniture. On the floor above, we'll find the spacious main living area with the well-equipped kitchen, dining hall and the couches by the fire. There are a lot of display racks for weapons and multiple bookshelves scattered around the house for all the book hoarders out there, as well as a linked storage for an ease of access to all your items. Finally, let's check out the highest floor of the house. Aside from the children's room, this floor is completely reserved for you, the master of the manor, with a comfortable main bedroom. You also have your private bath and washing room and a treasury with tons of slots to collect and showcase the many valuables of Skyrim. Now, this home also contains a huge secret, a private getaway to a secluded paradise, which, well, isn't maybe the most realistic, but hey, makes for good screenshots, I'd say. Back at the patio, it's a good place to think about the rating. First off, I absolutely love how the warm light seeps through the windows all over the living space and everything looks cozy and comfortable. There is everything you need in the house, but there may be some visual disparity. The home doesn't really blend with the base game. I'll put Peregrine Highwatch to Hearthfire Comfort tier. It is a good one, if a little busy in my opinion. Today we also have two palaces, the first of them being Snow Elf Palace, which is located east from Windhelm past the Dunmouth Pass. This gorgeous white stone palace has mighty gates and walls, as well as vigilant guards looking over it. You can buy the property for 40,000 septims, and now let's see what you get in exchange. First of all, we can't go inside before checking out the heated swimming pool on the outer layer of the palace. This place is absolutely serene, with the garden and the statue of Rielle watching over us. Now, inside, is the most beautiful throne room fit for a long-lost snow elf prince or princess or other royalty of the sort. All around, everywhere you look, you can see the white marble in the floor, on the walls and the furniture. Now, you know me, so we'll head straight to the spa where you can enjoy the large pool, and here also your guests and companions have rooms for some privacy. Though Snow Elf Palace isn't only for relaxing, as there is a large crafting room with everything you need for honing your handiwork, as well as a lot of storage. The palace bedrooms are situated in a cell of their own, as this wing of the palace is huge and has many rooms and even many beds. The main bedroom is very spacious, like everything in this player home, and fit for a royal. From here, let's check out the dining room next. Here you can find an endless table for the whole guild or court, and the kitchens, as well as a lot of space to sit down and overhear the ongoing conversations. Finally, there is the display hall, which is a proper museum when you get around filling it with all the treasures you have found during your adventures in the province. Moreover, the added NPCs can be disabled, and there's a teleport spell to the palace for you to use. Now, this home is definitely too big and too grand for me to use on a regular basis, but I'm in awe of its beauty, and its layout is actually pretty handy. I don't see a world where it could be anywhere lower than Thane's residence. Finally, from Falmer to Dwemer, as the last home we're checking out is Rkung-Zel, which is located high above the Reach. This looks like a huge complex with dwarven architecture and stairs leading up to the fortress itself. When we first walk into the front door, we find a deep cavern which takes us deeper into the player home itself, but also has a lot of things for you to use, from crafting stations to an alchemy ingredient garden and a fish hatchery. The throne hall opens up to a gorgeous, pristine, enormous space with the lost throne in the center of it all, and the corridors take us to the different parts of the palace. The living quarters contain a tavern, kitchen, and a dining room, servants' wing, as well as the main bedroom, which has its own bathing grotto. There is also the children's bedroom for 4 kids, and a cellar where you can stock up on mead. In this player home, you also have an access to a vast library, which has displays for the black books and elder scrolls, as well as the Arcanex area where you can hone your magical skills and craft and trade with a vendor. Moreover, you can find the armory, which has many weapon and armor displays and a training area, and in the treasury you can relieve your bags of all the paragon stones and dragon masks and claws and put them up for viewing. There is also a secret room for vampires and a balcony that overlooks the whole of the province. In the most Dwemer way possible, this home is absolutely beautiful. Everything looks cohesive, impressive, and there is an extensive lore written on the mod page. Safe to say, if you're an enjoyer of Dwemer architecture and way of life, you'll definitely love this player home. I'm not the biggest fan of this particular aesthetic, but I can't deny the charm and grace of this fortress. It's gotta be a Thane's residence, but for any Dwemer fan, it could probably be up in Sovngarde tier. Thank you for watching another lengthy player home video. Please keep suggesting me homes that I haven't showcased yet. This project is still ongoing until we're all completely tired of player homes. Thanks to my patrons, Ryan Ulrich, The Panicked Monk, Billy Duncan, Onshorefly15, Alex Lagenwhite, Angrius Windstorm, Divine Cleric, Amenity, Don Wright, Krakenhelm, Simon the Blind, J. Michael, Hitpoint, and Nocturnal Emissary. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz to see more of the like, and see ya!